Hello, Music Multiverse listeners, and welcome to Beyond Your Radio Unknown Sundays, where we take artists, bands, or something relatively unknown in the music industry and put it on display for the masses that might have, missed it. They have the ability to become something for our listeners to explore. Please remember that this is an extension of our article section of beyondyourradio.com. So if you want the full details written there by me, it's available to you. This episode, we explore the incredible flamenco guitar playing and modern stylings of the Mexico City duo Rodrigo y Gabriela. But before we get into this Unknown Sundays, are you subscribed to the channel now? If you're not, just remember we're here for you. To the now 97 followers, it's time to talk about a unique guitar duo in the world, Rodrigo y Gabriela. The record store junkie in me visits them all over the US and Canada. And as you would expect, I don't shy away from that in a foreign country, Paris, France, in Italy. And in this case, this story does not start in Mexico City or in anywhere in Mexico. This actually starts and goes back to Bogota, Colombia, where my wife and I were adopting our first child. So one afternoon, I had the ability to go to the Hacienda Santa Barbara and get the chance to check out a record store. Now, you know me, I brought everything I need to play my music. And at that point, it amounted to 24 CD pack, which I doubled up to get a little bit more in there, and the laptop to play them on, and a backdoor link to some of my started digitizing things, because this is about 2007 when this happened. Although the internet speed in the abode was not of first world nature, it still held its own. That's right. I was not on a streaming service at that time. So, I had to make things work. Considering the connection and the out of the country IP address, I'm sure it would have probably worked anyway. But I was prepared to purchase some native music from across the genres as much as I possibly could within a budget constriction. So I knew I could immerse my daughter in the culture that, we're removing her from. Now, I did my homework, of course. I wanted to get compilation type of stuff with folk concepts in it. But I was really excited about the fascination into their jazz. They've got a lot of electronica and, of course, the acoustic playing. But what's interesting is when you go to the record store in a foreign country, a lot of the times their music isn't front and center from the country. It seems to be that the Western world seems to dominate the record sales, which I guess shouldn't surprise anybody in that regard. But I mean, in Colombia, that was how the case. So really, I went over to the world music. Now, obviously, my Spanish isn't that good, so I wasn't really going to ask anybody to help me right away. I wanted to see if I could maneuver my way around without bothering anybody, but I did ask for some help about certain things. So for some reason, in the world section, we'll call it, or at least that's what I called with my limited Spanish, I eyeballed this huge eyeball of the lizard on this album. And I'm immediately taken by the name Rodrigo y Gabriela. And it had this sticker claiming all sorts of great things. And there were two mentions that immediately drew my attention on the packaging. So it said Stairway to Heaven and Orion. Now, Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin. Orion, that's Metallica. So are they doing covers? Sure enough. So I'm like, well, it's more modern than I was expecting out of the world section. So I picked it up along with some of the other things that I got. Now, on my way out, the person, I mean, it's on my way out, but I'm checking out, he made the mention, he gave me a thumbs up on the Rodrigo y Gabriela. So I'm like, hey, getting the thumbs up from the record store people. So I get back to our abode, and surprise, they're not from Bogota. Somehow they're just in the wrong bin, under the wrong title, or placed there unknowingly. But, thanks to that mistaken placement, I pick up this band, this duo, flamenco guitar players who are doing outrageous things beyond the El Diniolas of the world. The minute it started, I could immediately discern their unique manifesto to conquer the world this way, and the environment, and especially in the guitar workings, which at the point were mostly acoustic, or at least in the first several studio albums, that's the way it is. Rodrigo and Gabriela played acoustically to each other, it seemed to me, and the record was melded around that. remarkable and impeccably produced. Even the album Refrock, which is the first album, which is actually their early recordings that were done without microphones because they didn't have any. I think they got it off the guitar pickups or something is the story, but that's a totally unique scenario. You know, the duo loves the cover. There's no question about it. And of course, the more complicated, the better. From Echoes from Pink Floyd to El Di Meola, Jimi Hendrix, Carlos Santana. We were able to see them just perform a few years back. I was able to bring the kids as well to the University of Buffalo at the Center of the Performing Arts. It was a masterful acoustic and electric session of mind-blowing proportion. I know it wasn't Drake or Gavin DeGraw, but I think the girls understood and knew what they were experiencing, the talent level and the outrageous ferociousness that they played those guitar in the flamenco style. Now, that's why when they come up again in the Metallica tribute album, which is 4 CDs, they end it with The Trouble Within to close this set. So you know the tremendous amount of respect that they have in the industry for the unique sound and the love of music, all forms, it seems, or all genres. They were recently at the the Amoeba record store on YouTube. They do these things, what's in my bag, and I love watching that with the artists and to see, and I would just love their choices. And it's moments like that that feed my curiosity for sound and for more music exploration. If you've not heard of Rodrigo y Gabriela, you should definitely give their flamenco modernized style and variety a good listen, especially if you're an El Di Meola fan, as they can certainly give him a run for his title. Albums by Rodrigo y Gabriela in my collection: Refrock, 2002. Rodrigo y Gabriela, the self-titled 2006, oddly enough, released first in Ireland. If that makes any sense. 1111 in 2009, and yes, that is a Pink Floyd song title, as they do cover it at the end. Area 52, which is a live recording in 2012 that is done with a Cuban orchestra, which is amazing. Now, my favorite record is 9 Dead Alive in 2014, which is all about paying homage to some famous people and their triumphs in the world, what they meant. Very, very, really good, tight record. Then they came into Meta Evolution in 2019. We're going electric and acoustic here at this point. And In Between Thoughts, A New World in 2023 carried on the same type of style. What do you think of Rodrigo and Gabriela? Did you know them before today? Is it something in your wheelhouse? We'd love to hear from you and what other unknowns you might want us to get on the program. We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Articles, videos, and podcasts all about albums, artists, and bands. Love you to go beyond your radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. And until next week on Unknown Sundays, happy listening.